Good evening, and welcome to Founded on Faith, where we continue seeing how it is important to put our faith into action, like we read in chapter 11 in the letter to the Hebrews. We left off the last time where the scouts or the spies had just gone off into the land of Canaan, and they come back with what we heard was an evil report. They give fake news to the community of Israel, and the community takes it very badly. And they're at the point of wanting to mutiny against Moses and Aaron. And so Caleb and Joshua render their garments. They tear their garments. That is a sign of what people do when they hear blasphemy. And what is blasphemy? It's a resolute turning away from God, turning away from His goodness and His providence. So Caleb and Joshua are going to make one last attempt to convince the congregation of Israel to move forward. And so this is what they say. The land which we pass through to spy out is an exceedingly good land. When we hear exceedingly good land, I can't help but to think of when I went to Cana of Galilee over 5 times in the Holy Land now. And our guide tells us that Jesus, in turning the water into wine, didn't make simply wine. He made excellent wine, or exceedingly good wine. And so this land is exceedingly good. Of course, the Lord is going to give something that is exceedingly good. And so they continue saying, if the Lord delights in us, He will bring us into this land and give it to us, a land which flows with milk and honey, a land that's abundant, a land where it's easy to live, to earn a living, to be able to prosper. That's what a land of milk and honey is all about. And so they say, only do not rebel against the Lord, and do not fear the people of the land, for they are bread for us. Bread, that means we'll easily be able to beat them. Their protection is removed from them, and the Lord is with us. Do not fear them. So they have this one last affirmation of what is the result. It's tragic. It says, but the congregation, that means the whole assembly of the people of Israel, said to stone Caleb and Joshua with stones. So therefore the Lord reacts. It says, the glory of the Lord appeared at the tent of meeting to all the people of Israel, and the Lord said to Moses, how long will this people despise me? And how long will they not believe in me, in spite of all the signs which I wrought for them? So then Moses, he pleads with God to pardon the people of Israel. Numbers chapter 14, verses 13 through 19. So then we have the conclusion, Numbers chapter 14, verses 20 through 25. The Lord says, I have pardoned the people. But truly as I live, and as the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord, none of the men who have seen my glory and my signs which I wrought in Egypt and in the wilderness, and have put me to the proof these 10 times, and have not hearkened to my voice, shall see the land which I swore to give to their fathers. 10 times they did not listen to the Lord. For instance, one for each of the commandments. And none of those who despise me shall see it. But my servant Caleb, because he has a different spirit and has followed me faithfully, I will bring into the land into which he went. So here's the result. Moses brings them out of Egypt. He brings them to the threshold of the Holy Land. And what happens? They rebel. And so the Lord says, tomorrow, make a U-turn and turn towards the wilderness and towards the Red Sea. So they're going to make a U-turn. So what happens? For each of the days that they were spying out in the land of Canaan, the Lord is going to have them wander for 1 year. So there were 40 days in the land of Canaan, spying it out, skying it out. There were going to be 1 year for each of those days. That means 40 years in the desert. So God wanted to give them the Holy Land, the Promised Land right away. Yet because of their lack of faith, they are to be going back into the wilderness. And they're going to have to grow in faith, a sort of purgatory, a purification of their faith. How often does that happen in our faith walk? How often does the Lord want to give us so much more than we ask, and simply we say no? This reminds me of visits I've made to the Marian shrine in Paris called Rue du Bac, where the miraculous medal was asked to be made. St. Catherine Labouré, who was a religious of the Daughters of Charity of St. Vincent de Paul, in one of the apparitions, sees the Virgin Mary with stars. But some of the stars are not lit. So she says, Virgin Mary, why are some of those stars not lit? And the response is chilling. The Virgin Mary says, those are the graces that no one ever asks for. And so we can ask ourselves in our personal prayer life, are there graces that we don't dare to ask for? Are we daring enough in our prayer life with God to ask for great graces in order to glorify Him greatly? Or are we content with just a little bit, a sort of run-of-the-mill spirituality? Let us dare to ask for the grace to glorify God greatly in our lives. And let us see how Moses was able, in faith, to continue this mission now for 40 more years. He thought he was done? No. Now he gets 40 more years of leading what he calls this stiff-necked people. That is walking in faith. That is faith in action, because he's going to lead them in the wilderness in difficult conditions. He knows how quickly they complain. So let us ask for ourselves, being inspired by Moses' example, for perseverance in our missions, especially when it might be thankless, knowing that we're not working for a thank you from another person. We're working for God's greater glory. God bless you all.